Hey folks, welcome back to another Throat Punch Lunch, episode 15, ZenBins contest. Now, we'll get to that in just a few moments. I want to say, first of all, though, that thanks for coming back, and I hope that you are enjoying everything that we're putting out for you. I'm very happy with all the contributors and their segments so far, and I hope that you are too. Now, the ZenBins contest. Well, if you watched my review a little while ago, you saw me do a review of this guy right here, ZenBins for the Star Wars Rebellion. So this is a storage solution for Star Wars Rebellion, and really loved it. This is now inside my box of copy of Rebellion, and I really like it. So it just blew me away. Wasn't expecting too much out of it, but anyway, we got two of these sent to us, and so I'm going to keep one because I really enjoy it, and I figured why not give this one away. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to have a little email contest. I want you to send me emails to the email that's at the bottom of the screen right now, and I want you to give me at least 3 ideas for new segments that you'd like to see on Throat Punch Lunch. I'm not guaranteeing that any of these will actually come to fruition, but I want to see what you guys would like to see in our show, because quite frankly, that's what this show is all about. It's about you guys, what you guys want to hear about, what you guys want to know more about. And so I want you to send an email with the subject heading ZenBins contest. And it's all on the screen right there. Just copy all that down. And we'll do this until February 5th at midnight. That's Sunday, February 5th at midnight. We're going to end the contest at that point. So all the emails that come in by then will get you one drawing and one entry, I guess you could say, in the drawing. And only one email, please, for everybody. I don't want you to send multiple emails. So do that. All right, and then on our next episode, we will announce the winner of the ZenBins Star Wars Rebellion storage solution. All right, so if you don't win, it is available right now. You can go to their website. You can go to Cool Stuff Inc. and get it there for a little bit of a cheaper price off of MSRP, but it's a great product. That's why I'm pushing it. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to why you really showed up.
Hi, this is Ambie from Board Game Blitz, and this is Strategically Thematic, a segment where I talk about theme in different strategic games. This time, I'm talking about Brewcrafters. Brewcrafters is a game about brewing and selling different types of beer. In the game, you own a brewery and you have to acquire different ingredients like malt and hops in order to brew your beer. There are a bunch of different types of beers, both basic and advanced recipes, that are randomized at the beginning of each game. One of the interesting mechanics of Brewcrafters is that you have 2 types of workers, your market action meeples and your brewery shift tokens. The market action meeples are the ones you use for the usual worker placement. You'll be competing with the other players to get the supplies you need in a limited market. But in your own brewery, it doesn't matter what other people do, so actions like building new equipment or brewing beer cannot be blocked. When you brew beer in your brewery, it goes through 3 stages before you can sell it. First, you brew it. You'll need the ingredients listed on the recipe, and you'll use your processing systems to brew the beer. Also, in order to brew an advanced recipe, you need to have brewed the basic recipe of that type first, so you have experience in making that type of beer. The second stage is bottling it, and the final stage is distributing and selling it. Just like in real life, you don't actually get the money for the beer until you sell it, so you need to manage your finances well. Also, if you're the first player to sell an advanced recipe of beer, you'll get a gold label, which gives you more points. The game also comes with a bunch of skilled workers, which are randomly chosen each game. As one of your actions, you can hire these workers and have them help you for the rest of the game. The workers are usually specialists in their field. For example, this one is a malt importer and lets you get extra malt whenever you get malt from the market. In addition to the workers, you can upgrade your brewery with new equipment and you can research new skills, which will help you specialize. For example, if you get the brew pub, you can sell directly to people visiting your factory, so you don't have to wait a turn to ship your beer after it's been bottled. Thematically, it doesn't make sense to have skilled workers or fancy equipment for free, so I think the way Brewcrafters implements payments makes sense. The game takes place over 3 years, and at the end of each year you have to pay for each dollar sign shown on your board. This is kind of like a salary or maintenance fee. Workers get an annual salary, and equipment needs maintenance and rent to stay functional. What's great about Brewcrafters is that you can decide what type of brewery that you want to be. I've played games where I've been a specialty craft beer brewery, going for high quality beers but low quantity. And in other games, I've basically been making a bunch of Bud Lights, high quantity but low quality beers. It's really fun to go for completely different strategies, and the variety and setup makes you want to try new things each time. Even though I'm not a fan of drinking beer, I think the theme of brewing beer is unique and really interesting in a board game, and Brewcrafters implements the theme really well. Thanks for watching Strategically Thematic. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jennette, the Metal Meeple, and this is the Miniature Breakdown. So in this episode, we're taking a look at a miniature game that's been long gone. It's a collectible miniature game called Dreamblade by Wizards of the Coast. This came out in 2006 and was only out about a year or so. And it's a pre-painted miniature game where you have all these cool looking pre-painted miniatures. They've got special abilities and stuff on the bottom, all their information. They have it all on the top as well in various places. And the idea of the game is you build a warband or whatever they call it of 16 models. These models can be of any summoning cost. You want to vary this up though, because at the beginning of each round, the summoning cost or the spawn cost or spawn points are randomized. And so it's between 2 and 12. And obviously if it's away from the 7 mark, it's going to be harder to summon the guys into play. Now what you're trying to do is put these guys out in the field over here in your portal and move them across, which is called shifting, through these different cells, and you want to get into cells that score you points. You'll see all these little numbers on the map. The yellow ones at the top, those 6 cells up there, which I'll zoom in and see, there's 2 and 1. If you zoom out, these 6 cells right here are for the player the side that I'm on, and these 6 cells right here are for the opponent. And you want to be the only person at the end of the round to have a model there in which you gain conquest points. Like this one would give me 2. If I was up here in the corner, this one would give me 5, and I would have 7 conquest points at the end of the round. Now a round works like this generally. I'm not going to go over all the rules, but each player rolls a 6-sided die, and that total is going to be the number of spawn points for that round. So we got a 3 and we've got a 1. So we got 4 spawn points to spawn with this round. So you look at your characters and you're like, okay, this guy right here, well, he takes 7, but we'll take somebody, I'll pick these at random. Anyway, this guy cost 2, but he gets cheaper for every aspect point that he has out, or aspect point. So if you had already cast it, or summoned another character that had that symbol as their main faction symbol, then he would be cheaper. But in this case, he's going to be 3 spawn points. And you can bring him into play, and then you can move him up. Each player summons 1 guy or whatever, and then each player gets 2 actions. Most of your actions are going to be to shift, which will allow you to move all of your characters on the board 1 cell. You can't move diagonals, and they can't move if they're engaged, meaning they're in a spot with other players. Last thing is combat. The way combat works, which is really cool because you add up their points. Like he's got a 4 and a 2. You're going to roll 6 dice against the opponent. Let's just say this guy right here who has life of 10 and 12. We'll get what that means in a minute. But you're going to roll these specialized dice. They're Dreamblade dice. They're 1, 2, and 3. A couple misses. And then the Dreamblades, which look like that. You roll all the dice. You got 4, 5, 6. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, that's actually pretty nuts. We got 3, 6, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15 damage, which we can apply to all the characters in the zone, which will kill this guy. If you only get the first number, you can disrupt him to another place. If you roll blades, you have to spend them, and you use those to activate abilities. Some of these will actually have little blades next to them, like this one right here. It says swap. And that's how you activate all the different abilities. After all that, whoever has the most conquest points at the end of the round will score a victory point, and the first person to score 6 victory points is the winner. I highly recommend this game if you come across it. It's just really simple. It's really amazing. It's got a really dark theme. All the characters are very grotesque, dreamlike beings. But other than that, I was very sad to see this go away, and I think Wizards of the Coast would be pretty smart to bring this back. Anyway, that's Dreamblade. If you have any questions, comments, or whatever, please comment below or check me out on Twitter or the handle below. And until next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Hey everyone, it's Mark Zielinski. Welcome to your lunch. And today we're going to be talking about a game I've been waiting for to show up. I backed this on Kickstarter. Zombag, a zombie apocalypse in a bag. The very first Kickstarter failed. They came back, lowered the price, and redid the Kickstarter. And they also redid the rules, so we'll see how that goes in a minute. But, let's check it out on the closed cam. Alright, here's Zombag laid out for getting started with the game. And I just got to point out real quick, they tried really hard to put the rules on one piece of paper. Big mistake. The rules in this game are just horrible. I mean, they're not laid out well. They don't let you know what chips are in the bag. They don't, let you know the numbers. The rules are very unclear. I had to go back and watch some how to play videos and read the rules on the Kickstarter. So very disappointed in that. And I really want to like this game. So we went ahead and put together the best rules we could, and we've been playing it and having some fun with it. And I think it's going to come out only because it's portable and my son really likes zombie apocalypse games. So basically what you do to start the game is everything is handled out of this bag over here. You shake up the chips that you see, and then each player to start the game is going to draw 2 survivors, 2 weapons, and a supply. You're able to hold 5 supplies, 5 survivors at any given time. One of the things they added to the game were these mission cards. So you draw 3 to 5 of them at the beginning of the game to, basically fulfill, and that tells you how long the game is. This is the opposite side of them. So you would, to complete this mission, you need 2 food, and you see that you have food right there. You would need the biker guy over here, some food, and some bullets, okay? The chef, all right? So that's basically what you're looking for to fulfill your missions. It's points. You get the number of points in the corner if you complete the mission, and you also get points for zombies, and you can also lose points. So basically what you do on your turn, you've got 2 different actions. You can go scavenging, which means you try to complete a mission first, trade items, scavenge from the bag, and then resolve the scavenging. Or you can draw 2 new mission cards and discard 2 mission cards. So that's basically what you do. So let's scavenge because turning over cards is bad. So we're going to get a 3. So we go over to the Zombag here and we pull out 3 chips and we see what we get. Here we go. So we pulled out a zombie. Now, the missions are, the scavenging is resolved in a certain sequence, so you would resolve any type of situations or incidents that you pull. Then you have to fight the zombies, and then you get to the goodies. So in this particular case, this zombie right here, okay, as you can see, they need 3s to hit them, and they have 2 wounds. So you take your survivors, and you take a look. The chef here has an attack dog, so he's going to try to attack. He gets 1 hit there, okay? If your color of your guy matches the color of the weapon, you get a reroll, okay? In this case, neither of them match. So now the survivor here, each survivor gets 1 attack. So he's going to roll for 1. He gets a 6, 2 hits, kill the zombie, and you get the goodies. All right? To resolve a mission, at the beginning of your next turn, you would take the chips that you have here with the chef, and you would pull that out, and you would get the points. The game ends as soon as somebody completes all their missions. My hope is Glass Cabinet Games will see this video, and they will fix the rules of this game and put in a real rule book. I think there's a game here. I really enjoy it, and we're going to play it our way, and which we think is pretty close to the way they designed it to play, because it is fun, It's portable, and mostly because my son is a zombie freak, so he'll play anything zombie. So zombie apocalypse in the bag, this goes straight in the backpack, no problem, and you're drawing chits in no time and blowing away zombies. You know, there's several ways to win. You know, he's won a game just by bagging zombies. He completed no missions whatsoever. I completed my missions, went through everything, and I still lost because he was racking up such a body count. So that's it. If you want to, check it out. Zombag.
Now it's time to share the love. With me, Lara Williams. Hey everyone, I'm Lara from Married with Board Games, here with ideas on how you can share your love of board games with your non-gaming friends and family. An old friend who I consider a non-gamer recently asked me if I had ever heard of Splendor. Of course, I already owned it and had played the iOS version of the game, so I was pleasantly surprised that someone who is not active in the hobby was sharing a fondness for it. That's when it dawned on me that this game is definitely one that hobby board gamers can use to introduce the idea of engine building. In Splendor, players take on the role of jewel merchants in the Renaissance. They take gems and gold tokens and use them to purchase development cards, which are worth prestige points and possibly even a bonus. Bonuses allow players to purchase subsequent development cards for a lesser cost. When a player has enough bonuses, they are visited by a noble who grants them more prestige points. As soon as a player reaches 15 prestige points, the current turn ends and the player with the most prestige points is the winner. First, let's talk theme. Usually, I like to try to use the theme as a way to start the conversation about a game to pique my friends or family members' interest. The idea of being a jeweler might not be the most appealing theme to the general public, and that's not too bad of a thing here. I personally don't think the theme is as strong in this game as others. So if you're worried about someone being turned off of the game because you don't think jewelry is their thing, don't sweat it. There's a better way to bring the game up to them and try to get them interested. In fact, Splendor is one of just a few instances where I'd tried to sell someone on a game based on the category it fits into. You can definitely classify this game as an engine building game, and that's one of the easiest concepts to explain to a non-gamer. This is how I'd present it. Basically, just like an engine, you have to acquire several different kinds of parts to put together, and once they are put in motion, they start churning out better and better results for the player. But it all depends on what parts you use and how quickly you build your engine. You can also describe how rewarding it can feel to see the fruits of the engine you built. Everybody knows that awesome feeling when a plan comes together and when the steps you've taken to become more efficient begin to pay off. This is exactly what's happening in Splendor. With each card you acquire, it becomes easier and easier for you to purchase more expensive cards, which are also more lucrative cards. When you finally reach that 15-point goal, you can look back at your machine and see just how awesome of a mechanic you are. If you're able to get friends to play Splendor and they agree that engine building games offer a rewarding experience, there are some great next step games that can be classified as engine building games. They might like to try Race for the Galaxy, Power Grid, Suburbia, or Colony. Do you have a favorite engine building game that you've successfully introduced to your non-gaming friends and family? Let me know. Tweet to me at MarriedWithBG. And until next time, keep on sharing the love.
It's Roy Cannaday from Epic Gaming Night, and this is Roll with the Punches, where we talk about randomness in games and how it can make games exciting. Also how to twist randomness into your favor. This week we're going to be taking a look at a game that has crazy asteroids and dice rolling and pirates attacking your ship. We're going to take a look at the extremely random game, Galaxy Trucker. In Galaxy Trucker, players race to build ships out of junk parts in real time. So I've got my ship all built here, not completely full, but I have some engines and some guns and a lot of cargo bays, so let's see what we can do with this thing. So the first card here is Meteoric Swarm. So what this means is that I have to roll the dice for each meteoric swarm here. So there's small asteroids, large asteroids, and they're coming at my ship from the side that the arrows are on here. So I roll both dice, and there's numbers on my little grid here so I can see where it hit my ship. So the first one is a small one, which will hit not on my ship at all. So it hits at 11, completely misses. Then the big one, this is the one that is really could mess me up, hits right at 4, 5, so it hits right down this row. So I can use a battery to blast that small asteroid since I have a gun there, so it doesn't damage me, so I will do that. Any of the ones that have the green here, you have to spin batteries to do it, but they give you 2 strength when you're fighting off guys. So I spin the battery for that. Then one comes out from the side, which is terrible because I have a bunch of open spaces over here. So we'll roll for that. That's a 5 again, which hits right here. And since it's a small asteroid, it just bounces off as long as there's not open connectors. Then a large asteroid comes from the side. This will basically kill me wherever it hits because I can't use shields to stop it. And 6, 7, 8 hits right here, which blasts this away. Good thing that's the only thing that was holding. If there's ever connections that get severed, you can lose like whole halves of your ship if the connections no longer meet. But this gets blasted off and goes here. I can't use my shields because it's a big asteroid. And then a small asteroid comes from that side as well. 5, 6, which hits right here, which will blast this off, but I can use my shields to stop that as well. So yeah, meteoric swarm done. Now I can get some resources from this planet. Hopefully if I can survive, I'll be able to use all these awesome resources that I got to make a little bit of dough. 16, 17, 18, 19 points with all those resources. But in this game, it's so random because I could just lose half my ship depending on the other cards that come up. There could be pirates that I have to check my guns, which 6, if I spent a battery, would be enough to beat those. There's epidemics where if you have crews beside each other, it can wreck your guys. There are more planets, so I can get even more resources, which would be great because my ship's all set up to land on planets. Open space will help us fly further and get ahead or in last because it's also a race to the end. I don't have very many engines, so I don't know that I'll be winning a race to the end, but still lots of things to think about. So yeah, that's Galaxy Trucker. All sorts of crazy things going on in this game. Galaxy Trucker is definitely a highly random game with all sorts of crazy events. You spend the whole first half of the game building your ship the best you can in real time, trying to put all the things in the right places, make sure you have enough components of the right things, and make a nice looking ship before your opponents push the time to the end. Then you go to the event phase where there's pirates and asteroids and all sorts of craziness flying at you. And it's hard sometimes to figure out, like, how do I prepare my ship for the just random happenstance? Like, oh my goodness, the asteroid hit that one spot on my ship that was its only weak spot. Now that whole half my ship fell off. This is one of those games where randomness can really wreck you, but it's still awesome to try to build the best ship you can, and it's one of those games where you just have to sit back, relax, know that everything is gonna go terribly wrong from your ship going to point A to point B, and just try to laugh it off and have a lot of fun doing it. There are definitely a lot of ways to try to mitigate randomness, like making sure you have the proper shields, making sure you have the guns on the front and engines in the back so you can get in the front, but also be able to take out the threats that you run into, blast asteroids out of the way. There's definitely a lot of things you can do to mitigate luck, but you have to do all of that in real time. So it's up to you to be able to make those things happen. So yeah, Galaxy Trucker is a whole lot of fun as long as you're not too worried about the outcome. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys next time.
So hey, welcome back to another Just Missed It segment with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today, we're taking a look at a storage solution that just missed the staying power mark and actually got ousted by another storage solution, and that is for this game right here, Star Wars Rebellion. And I just got a new copy of the ZenBins storage solution for Rebellion, and it blew me out of the water. I was fit as a fiddle with my Meeple Realty storage solution for Rebellion, but ZenBins just swept me off my feet, and now I am keeping ZenBins for my storage solution, and I'm going to explain to you why Meeple Realty's Rebellion Outpost just missed the mark. So here is the Rebellion Outpost from Meeple Realty. It's basically the storage solution that Meeple Realty has for Star Wars Rebellion. And comes with all of these instructions on how to put everything together, and then it also tells you how to put it all in the box so you can keep everything nice and straight and snug. So you have a whole bunch of bins here on the top. There's room for expansion in these, and that's one of the selling points of this, is that there is a lot of room for expansion. That's something that the ZenBins doesn't have a whole lot of, although it does have a little bit of it. But you take these off, and then you have these little trays here that are actually really neat, because all of the characters slide in there and they're very snug. This is a booger to put together, though, let me tell you. So it's pretty cool here as far as that's concerned. There's one for the Rebel forces and then one for the Imperial forces. Then you have all of your card slots right here. And then you have more token trays here. And then, of course, there's going to be some ships, Star Destroyers, and the bigger Imperial ships in here. And then the Star Destroyers slide in here. This is a really cool thing here. The base of the Star Destroyer slides in the side here, and then the post that is holding the Death Star sticks up. So you have 3 Death Stars and maybe a room for a 4th. I don't know. But this was also very difficult to put together. But it's a cool, neat little eye-catcher type of thing. So this thing was my storage solution for Star Wars Rebellion before I got the ZenBins. And the reason it just missed it is because, first, for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's made out of wood, so it's heavier. So that plays into it for me. I don't like carrying around heavy boxes. Rebellion is heavy as it is because of all the plastic that comes in it. All of the wood just made it more heavy. And second of all, these bins were lackluster for me. I thought that they could have done something a little bit more, I don't know, conforming maybe. I mean, this could be for anything, you know what I'm saying? This could be literally for any game out there. And same thing with these and these. The only real differentiating factors of this thing was these two things, as cool as they are, and this thing right here for the Death Stars, as cool as it is. But really, everything else could be for any game out there, so there wasn't really a differentiating factor there. ZenBins wasn't even on my radar, but once they hit the radar, this one slipped off. I can't really explain exactly why, other than the fact that it's heavier and it's not as distinct for the game. Those are my two things of why it just missed it. This is a great organizer. Please don't get me wrong, but it just missed the mark. Now, before you go off the deep end, let me just say that this very clearly, Meeple Realty's Rebellion Outpost is a great storage solution. It is very classy. It's very sturdy. It's really going to provide a lot of support, not just to the pieces of your game, but also to the box itself. So there's a lot to be said about that. To prove to you, basically, that this is one that I think other people should have, I'm going to throw this one into the contest. So basically, we're not just having a contest for a ZenBins box organizer for Rebellion, we're also having a contest now for a Meeple Realty Rebellion Outpost, the one that I've already put together, and I'm going to send it to you put together. I'll box it up as best as I can. So there you have it. We're having a contest for 2 box organizers, not just one. So there you have it. Sorry, Meeple Realty, you just missed it. Still a good product, but ZenBins, in my opinion, just a little bit better.
Ahoy there, Throat Punchies! I'm Forrest from Bower's Game Corner, and I'm back again for 3 reasons where I do something vaguely related to the number 3. I am wrapping up my year-end 2016 list series, this time by talking about my New Year's resolutions, my gamer resolutions. Hopefully, you can take one of these, make it your own, and potentially do it in the future. So, starting off with number 1, I am going to chart all the games that I play this year. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. I think it's really interesting to look back and see, oh, I played this game this many times, and I haven't played this game maybe for 6 months, or I didn't play this game for a whole year. I I think that's absolutely fascinating and potentially can help me cull my game collection in the future. But unfortunately, it's really difficult to do until I found the Board Game Geek app, which is on Android. And while it is a little bit daunting to use, it's really cool. It charts the games you played, it charts who you played with, when you played it, who won, where you played it, lots of cool stuff. Very cool app if you have Android. Highly recommend checking that out. That's the Board Game Geek app. So my number 2 resolution is to go to 7 conventions this year. Now, I'm not a member of the Dice Tower, so 7 conventions for me is crazy because I work full-time, I have 2 kids, I go to school full-time, I got a wife, I got a lot on my plate, but I'm gonna make it happen hopefully this year. We got the Gen Con, obviously. Origins I'm hoping to go to for the first time this year. Essen, fingers crossed we can get a Kickstarter to go to that. But why I really want to bring this up are local conventions. I have 2 local conventions I always go to, and I always have a blast going to these. Chaz Marlin brought it up actually in last week's Monday morning episode. And he said it perfectly. These are fantastic conventions. They're normally decently priced. There's normally tons of games to play, tons of free games. Sometimes they have flea markets. You can meet new people from around your community who you might hit it off with and game with in the future. Highly recommend going to those. But my goal this year, 7 conventions. Last but not least, I have made a resolution to myself that I will not buy any new games until I have reviewed all of the copies on my shelf that I've been given to review. I will not buy any... Okay, I can explain. That was my original resolution. But then Amazon had a really sweet deal, and I decided my new resolution is I will not get any games for me until I've reviewed everything on that shelf. So all these are children's games that I will spend valuable time with my son and family playing. But so far, so good. I have not bought myself any new games this year. That one is definitely going to be the hardest one to do, though. But those are my 3 New Year's gamer resolutions. Let me know what you think about them in the comments below. Let me know if you made any resolutions in the comments below. If you enjoy what I'm doing, be sure to check out my channel. And as always, back to more Throat Punchy goodness.
Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson with Beyond Solitaire, and I'm welcoming you to another episode of Solo Thrash, Amerithrash gaming for those of us who like to play alone. Today I'd like to talk about a game in the Oniverse series called Sylveon. This is a tower defense game in which you are the animals in a forest trying to defend yourselves against a forest fire. As I mentioned, Sylveon is a tower defense game, and what that means is that you need to protect your forest all the way through the game, which means that you need to stay alive and healthy until all of these flame elemental cards are gone. So at the beginning of every round, you'll flip over a new row, and they'll attack you, and you have to see what you can do about it. Your health is represented by these trees around the edges of the setup, and every time you get damaged, you have to flip a card to represent a loss of health. If all the cards go red, you have already lost the game. The elemental cards in Sylveon can take some different forms. For example, this is just a smaller flame card. You can get larger fires, or you can get cards that cause status effects. So, for example, this card will cause every fire that's currently in action to increase in power. Whereas there are other cards that will cause flames to move forward at a more accelerated rate. To defend your forest against the threat of the fire, you will have some different allies at your disposal. So you'll have various forest animals, including my favorite, the sort of improbable whale, that allows you to move a fire elemental 3 spaces in any direction of your choice. You might get an owl, who permits some card draw, so you can get a little bit of extra ammunition. You can have an elephant, who is able to put out any fire that is currently on the board. Or you might get a fountain, and the fountains are basically your main lines of defense. So as you can see, this one has a 4 defense, so it can defend you against pretty much any fire, although this one's pretty small, and it can't do a whole lot. So you have to think about how to place them. The other element of strategy in the game is that every card has a price. So this one, although it's fairly weak, is easy to put down because it has a cost of 0. And the cost of a card is paid by discarding other cards from your hand. So if I want more cards, I have to discard one in order for my owl to be effective and give me some more cards. This more powerful fountain, which has great defense, also has a cost of 3. So I'm going to have to give up a lot of other cards to make it worth it. In addition to fighting fires, there's one other important thing you need to do, which is plant trees. So what the trees are, basically during the game, they don't do a whole lot for you. They can just sit there and be burned by fires. But at the end of the game, they're really important. Because if you've lost any life, you need your trees to represent the healing of the forest and replenish yourself to full health so that you can be considered to have won the game. So if you're missing any life from these rows around the edges of the forest, then you are considered to have lost the game. And trees are what help you prevent that. Overall, I really enjoy this game because you have to make a lot of choices. You know, am I going to use my expensive fountain now? Am I going to play a lot of cheap cards, or am I going to discard them? Is it a good time to start planting trees, or is it too early for me to be doing that yet? Should I be spending my cards on trees when I could be spending them on something to destroy a fire? All those decisions really play a role in this game that makes it a lot of fun and makes the decisions more challenging. Sylvion is actually part of a larger series of games that are designed for solitaire play. It's called the Oniverse series, designed by Shadi Torbey, and the most famous game in the series is called Onirim. There's also a tile-laying game called Castellion, and there is a new game that is basically a variation on Roll and Move coming out called Nautilion. So if you think that Sylvion is your sort of thing, you should look into its sister games, because Shadi Torbey designs a lot of interesting solo play experiences that are affordable, that are small box, you can take them with you to travel, and they're a lot of fun. But I chose Sylvion because I really, really like it. I love tower defense games. I really like the cute animal theme, and I just sort of like trying to get the card mechanics to work together. For example, you'll have the lookout squirrels who can kind of like see what enemy cards are coming up next, and you can decide if you want to save your big wipeout cards for another round, if it's time to make a big move now. You know, there's a lot of interesting strategies as you play the game more and really get to know how the cards work. I also like that there are alternate win conditions that you can draft. So, you know, the game can play out differently every single time depending on what cards come up and what tactical decisions that you make. So I highly recommend Sylvion. Give it a try, and happy gaming.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to Throat Punch Lunch. You knew that already because you're watching the video already, but I'm Bryan Drake with the latest retro, taking a look at stuff I like, stuff I hate. Again, you saw last time we talked about stuff I like, stuff I hate, the idea of mechanics and production working together in harmony, and when they do and when they don't. I gave a couple examples of that. Today, we're going to look at another couple of things that work either in harmony or just absolute, total rubbish dissonance. But then again, I might even contradict myself in this own little 4-minute talk about this whole topic, which is completely possible. So, the idea of theme and mechanics working together. So, when I love this is a game like Battles of Westeros, actually. It's right here. It's a great game in the Battle Lore line in name only. Fantasy Flight basically picked up the Battle Lore license from Days of Wonder. They threw this together, not threw it together, there's a lot of thought in it, of course. It's Battles of Westeros. You play in the Game of Thrones universe. Everybody takes a certain commander, which is already a little bit different, especially from Battle Lore 2.0 if you played that. You have a commander of your army, your team, your whatever, your group of soldiers. And it does play on the Battle Lore system in a sense that each group of units, hit points technically, is how many units are in the hex, which I think is a really cool idea. Of, you know, if you take 3 damage, you pull 3 of those units out, and if all 3 of them are gone, then you lose that whole unit. I think that's a really smart idea, and that's just Battle Lore and commands and colors and stuff in general, so it really doesn't have much to do with this. This is what I'm talking about, though. The way you order your troops in this one is different than the regular commands and color system. Normally you would draw a card that says left flank, right flank, or center, and you do an action in one of those areas. But this is different. You have a leader, and you have certain leader cards and certain leader actions, and leaders can only interact with units within a certain radius around them, which is very realistic to the theme. If you're in a military battle in this area, you can only yell commands to certain people around you. They can't hear you all the way on the other side of the battle, which is what's interesting about this. Instead of you zooming out and playing a general who's kind of off the battlefield and you're controlling the flanks and calling the shots, you're playing someone who's actually on the battlefield and having to try to shout your unit's orders right there in that little square. So you may need to move your leader, your Tywin Lannister, over to closer to other units so you can better lead them or command them or whatever. So that's stuff I like when it comes to mechanics and theme working together. Stuff I hate is when a theme and a mechanic just feel slapped together. Now, this is not always a bad thing. There are some games that have just absolutely slapped on themes that are still fun to play. This one, for instance, Hanabi, is a fun game that has a slapped on theme. Tides of Madness is a game that has a slapped on theme, and it's just fun to play. It's really cute, it has all the cool, amazing art of Tides of Time. But the big center here, and you've heard this talked about before, anytime you hear a review about this game, this is the number one thing brought up. But for some reason, we still buy this game, and we still enjoy playing it sometimes. That is DC Deck Builder. Of all the deck builders out there, DC Deck Builder is the biggest center when it comes to theme and mechanic, because there literally is no theme when it comes to this game. You buy punches and kicks. Sure, that's not even the biggest problem for me. You're using your currency, which are punches and kick, to get power, which is actually your currency. And there's only one type of currency, which, by the way, I like, instead of two different types like Ascension. But this is the problem. You pick up Cheetah with Wonder Woman, and she's in your deck, and your deck gets better because you have Cheetah, Wonder Woman, and Lex Luthor. And then you get Atom and Power Girl, and then you get a Green Lantern ring and a White Lantern ring mixed together with Necron, and you win because you have all of that. That makes no sense. Nowhere in any DC comic for the last 75, 80 years almost has anything like that happened, even in all the crazy amalgamations and crises that have happened over the years. But here's the problem. No matter how bad that is, no matter how much that irritates me sometimes, I still like to play this game every once in a while. But it still just grinds my gears and irritates me to no end when games really don't try that hard to make the theme and mechanic actually fit together and actually make sense and actually work to be something. So that is stuff I like and stuff I hate for this week. I'm Bryan with the latest retro. Go back to enjoying your lunches of throat punches, and that rhymed in a different way than the title. Anyway, enjoy Throw Punch Lunch. Remember, follow us on Twitter at The Latest Retro, and check out our reviews on the Dice Tower now. And we'll see you next time. So check it out. Thanks a lot.
Hey everyone, I'm the Board Game Renegade, and welcome to another episode of Hello is a Theme You're Looking For. And today I'm going to be talking about a game with a pretty cool theme and pretty cool components, and that game is called Cult Express. All aboard! Choo-choo! It's July 11th, 1899, 10 a.m. The Union Pacific Express has left Folsom, New Mexico, with 47 passengers on board. After a few minutes, sounds of rapid footsteps occur. The rapid footsteps are the sounds of horses dropping off 6 bandits to the caboose of the train. Yee-haw! This is robbery! The bandits are Tuco, Django, Belle, Doc, Ghost, and Cheyenne. The bandits believe that this will be an easy score for them, but little do they know that on the train is Marshal Samuel Ford, and he's ready to do whatever it takes to protect the passengers and their belongings. I reckon I hear some noise on the train. And the bandits can't even trust each other because of their greed. I'm a better bandit than you. I reckon you're wrong. The bandits do whatever it takes to get rich. They'll climb on top of a moving train and jump from cart to cart and back down. That purse is mine. They'll punch each other. Get out of my face. They'll shoot each other. While still trying to avoid Marshal Ford. I reckon, ma'am, put the jewel and the guns down. At the end, only one bandit could be the ultimate and richest bandits. I'm rich! I'm rich! Oh no, is that bridge broken? So that is Cult Express. I hope you enjoyed the segments. And once again, I am the Board Game Renegade. And until next time, peace out.
Welcome to Kickstarter Thrash-Up. Today I've got two really unique projects that are going to be coming out a little later this year. The first off I want to talk about is Headhunters. It's something I saw at Gen Con last year and I was very fascinated by it. I spent time talking to Gutshot Games about this thing, and I have to tell you, if you are somebody that enjoys miniature games and has a small child, or maybe even you are not sure about getting into it, I think you're really going to like these guys. These guys are really, really unique. They're easy and to play with. The rules, from what I've gathered, are pretty easy to do. The finals aren't done, but this is going to be kickstarting in April. Now, if you look at the little picture up here, you're going to see that the head actually comes off, and inside is all the cards, the rulers, the dice, everything that you need to play comes inside these guys. And now they actually come with big guns. So it's going to be very, very interesting when this goes. I think this is something that, for me, I have a lot of interest in, because maybe you have small children or something that you want to be able to play something with. This will be something that I think will cross over very well. It's a board game with miniature games, and just there's a lot to it. So I'm looking forward to this coming out. The other thing I'm looking forward to is one of my favorite games of all time is Dawn, Rise of the Acolytes. It's by Eagle Griffin Games, but it's in association with a company called Darwin Games. Ben Boersma from Australia has made this game and made a beautiful universe. Coming out in Kickstarter, he's coming out with another game, which I'm very excited because it's in that same universe that he created. If you get a chance, you really need to check out Dawn, Rise of the Acolytes. It's still available at Cool Stuff, and you can get the unpainted version at a good price because you get a lot in that box. Now, their next game is called Eye for an Eye Arena, where you're taking the chieftains and putting them into this arena to battle it out. And some of the sculpts, as you can see, are absolutely gorgeous. Just beautiful work. Everything that he's put into the first game, I have a feeling is going to really come over to the second game. And the first game I thought was a masterpiece and an under-the-radar game that nobody really knows about. You can't believe how much stuff you get in that game, and it's just a fun game because it's like a role-playing game on a board game surface with miniatures, and it's just, there's so much you can do to it with it, and it's endless, and the mechanics are just fantastic. Eye for an Eye, same type of thing. I really think that he's got another masterpiece on hand, and I'm going to be looking for that Kickstarter as well. Well, that's it from Kickstarter Thrash-Up this week. I'm Rob Oren. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you have a project or something coming up that you want featured on here, do not be afraid to email me at novaprime860@hotmail.com. Get me all the information. Who knows, you might end up on Kickstarter Thrash-Up. Until next time, I'm Rob Oren. You guys have a great and wonderful 2 weeks.
So that is Throat Punch Lunch, episode 15 in the books, y'all. Thanks so much for coming back and joining us every couple of weeks. Don't forget to enter the ZenBins contest. And hey, I'm just a wild and crazy kind of guy, so I threw in that Meeple Realty one as well. So we're going to have 2 winners on this contest, not just one. So please send those ideas in. Remember, only 1 email each. 3 ideas in each email, and we'll see what we can do to try to maybe do some of those ideas that you have. So that is it for Throat Punch Lunch. We'll see you guys on the flip side.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool Stuff, in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.